Hey there, this is Heidi from Create with Heidi, and today I'm going to show you how to use Puff heat transfer vinyl to make a military awareness shirt. I always begin my projects by prepping all of my materials so that I can just go through and cut and have everything ready to go and organized. So this is just my prepping process. I have my computer right next to me so I can see what dimensions I need to cut out for each piece of my project. Now you'll see here in just a minute that I didn't actually prep all of my materials ahead of time. That was just a little oversight on my part. So you will see me cutting out 2 more pieces in just a minute. I ended up using the glitter iron-on setting for all of these TeckWrap heat transfer vinyl materials because it cut the cleanest for me. Here I am putting the heat transfer vinyl shiny side down on my mat and using a brayer to make sure that it adheres really well. Just a reminder that whenever you're doing HTV, you always want to mirror your image so when it cuts out, it's actually backwards because you end up flipping it over and having that shiny side up because that is your protective barrier. Now that super sped up cut is finished, I am going to peel it off the mat, and as I mentioned a minute ago, I am going to prep my other materials really quick. Okay, now that those are done, I'm going to cut out my military awareness ribbon. You can see right here, I put the heat transfer vinyl down incorrectly. I have the shiny side up. I realize it and flip it over and fix it. I usually roll the mat away from the material, but with heat transfer vinyl, there is less risk of damaging your vinyl if you peel it off the mat. And especially with these where they were such small pieces, I didn't feel like it was a risk to do that. I'm just going to hurry and cover up my mat and then we will move on to weeding. I am using my favorite tools, my TeckWrap tweezers and my TeckWrap weeding pen. I don't end up using that scraper, but I just got all of them out because it's my habit to do so. I'm using the weeding pen right now to do all of the weeding, and then I'll end up actually using the tweezers to fix a little bubble in my vinyl in just a little bit. Okay, now that I have those weeded, I'm just going to line them up and make sure that they line up exactly how I think that they should and that I'm happy with how it looks. On to weeding the Puff vinyl. One thing that I want to say about this Puff HTV, it weeds so incredibly easily. Most HTV weeds really easy, but this just was the easiest of the easy. I really had no issues with it and it went so fast. I was really impressed. Like I mentioned earlier, when you mirror your image, you can see it's backwards, but now when I flip it over, it's exactly how I want it to look. So now that everything's weeded, we are going to move on to pressing it on the shirt. Here is my shirt. I have a protective mat underneath it, and I am just using my heat press to heat up the shirt and get out any wrinkles from the shirt being stored. Now I've got my shirt ruler that I am using to make sure that my design ends up exactly where I want it. I am putting a crease in the middle of the design so that I make sure it ends up exactly centered. Now it's ready to press. One important thing to note is with puff vinyl, you can only press it one time. If you put heat on puff vinyl more than once, it will flatten it. So if you are going to layer with puff vinyl, you need to have the other vinyl as the bottom layers and the puff vinyl as your top layer. And then make sure you have your heat settings and your time perfectly correct so that you don't end up making any mistakes and having to flatten out that puff. My heat settings are 300 degrees for 15 seconds. Then I let it cool for 15 seconds before peeling off the plastic sheet. Here I am putting the military awareness ribbon on the sleeve. I am using a Teflon sheet as a protective barrier in between the two layers of the sleeve. One so that the bottom layer is protected, and then also so that I don't get any wrinkles or creases in the shirt or the vinyl. Here's where I got that little bubble, and so I'm just correcting it really quick with the tweezers and then moving on. I pressed the first layer for 15 seconds and then the second layer for 30 seconds because I didn't want to overpress the first layer. And there it is, it's all done, and this is how the shirt turned out. I am super happy with it. Thank you for joining me today.